Hi, it's a new gear day today. Took a delivery this morning. It's a fresh batch of PhatPhish plectrums. And the thing about a new gear day is you just want to play your guitar. You just want to sit down with new equipment, whatever, whether it's something as basic as a pick or it's a brand new guitar or an amp. You just want to sit down and play. Fortunately, I'm kind of due doing a tutorial video, so I thought I'd try and combine the two today and do a one that's much more focused on playing. Now, if you've got a copy of PhatPhish, it's going to show you where all the notes are and all the scales that you're going to find, and where to find them on the guitar neck. And I think, well, that's it. You're set. You know how to go. But what you've got to think about when you're playing, notes, when you're playing notes from a scale, is not just where the notes are in the scale, but how do they relate to underlying chords? How do they relate to the key? Okay, so I'm going to play a fairly simple backing track, and this is all in D Dorian. So if you've got your copy of PhatPhish there, you can dial in D Dorian in standard tuning, and you'll find it down here. What I'm going to do is talk about the notes that you can pick from that scale and how they affect the way the overall result feels. Okay, so let's start off with the backing track. What I'm going to do is zoom the camera in on this region of the neck. I'm going to stick pretty much to the scale box that's based around here at the 10th position. With the root at on the 10th fret. So it's probably not ideal. I'm going to kind of limit where I go on the neck, but we can keep the camera focused in, and if you know what scale shape I'm using, it should be easier for you to follow, when I'm using, particular notes from the scale. Okay, so we've got the backing track, D Dorian backing track. Let's just start playing something using D minor pentatonic. To make it a bit more interesting though, I'm going to add in the flat 5, D minor blues. Okay, so that was just using a minor pentatonic, and then we added in a flat 5th degree. Now, if you've got your copy of PhatPhish and you know the notes of the D Dorian mode, you'll know that there isn't a flat 5th in there. That's okay. What I did there is just a little trick. Generally, anywhere where you can use a minor pentatonic, you can get away with using a minor pentatonic flat 5. Then you're using that minor blues scale to give you the bluesier sound. And in terms of modes, you've got the 3 minor modes: Dorian, Phrygian and Aeolian. If you look at those 3 modes, notes in common to them are the notes of the minor pentatonic. So generally anywhere where you're playing a minor mode, you can play the minor pentatonic, and then by extension of that you can add in the flat 5th degree to get a minor pentatonic flat 5, the minor blues scale. And what we played there, that sounded okay, but it didn't really pull out the Dorian feel of it. Okay, so here we go again, but this time using all the notes that we've got at our disposal in the D Dorian mode. try that. Using the minor pentatonic flat 5, but adding in the odd Dorian tone just to give it a little bit of extra flavour. So sort of like blues with a Dorian twist. Played that there using the 2nd degree and the 6th degree as well. It really pulls out the Dorian tonality and makes the whole thing sound a lot more interesting. And then towards the end, really adding a bit of flavour by adding in the 5th degree as well. So we've kind of got a hybrid scale, if you like, a combination scale of the Dorian with a flat 5th, so like combining the Dorian mode and the minor blues scale. Now, most of what we're playing there, apart from any little duff notes that are dropped in, it sounded okay, and that's because we're playing notes from the scale, and you fully expect that. As long as you pick the notes from the scale, you'll sound okay. That's not necessarily the case, and it's important to know this, because you can fall into the trap thing. As long as I play what's in the scale, it'll sound right. So what happens if we go back and play this again, and I'm going to concentrate on some particular notes here and see how it sounds. Okay, so we know that we're perfectly safe using a minor pentatonic flat 5, using a D Dorian. But what happens if we dwell on the wrong note for just a little bit too long? The best example of this is going to be a flat 5th degree. We know it belongs in a minor blues scale. We know we can use a minor blues scale in a Dorian type jam like this. But what happens if we emphasise the wrong note? Try this. Emphasise the 5th. That's fun. Emphasise the flat 3. That's cool. There, landed on the flat 5th degree. That just doesn't sound right, does it? Don't want to dwell on that. The flat 5, perfectly good as a passing note. Just because you use notes from the scale, you can get some less pleasing results as well. So, think about what notes you play and think about how they relate to the underlying chord and what sort of tensions you're going to get in there. Okay, so I've been able to get away with jamming a little bit today, having a bit of fun. I'd advise you to do the same thing. Get your guitar, whether old or new gear, jam away with a backing track, or even better with some buddies. Think about the notes that you're picking, what scale are you using, and what notes are you using from the scale, how do they relate to the underlying chord, and listen carefully to how that influences the overall, the overall result as the lead melody that you're playing and the underlying backing that you're getting from either a backing track or a band. Think how they go together as part of a greater whole. Hope you found that useful. So go away, jam, listen, have fun, and hopefully I'll catch you in another video sometime soon. Bye for now.